after the young gentleman spoke and the woman in the wheelchair, I knew I had to come up. I'm a patient advocate of 27 years. And I have done every bit of my patient advocacy work for free. I was hurt. Well, first of all, my father was in Normandy and Korea, so and got a Purple Heart, so I do have that part of me. But in 1991, I was hurt horribly by a doctor, getting ready to go back to become a PA. My husband and I had been married 15 months. I had 4 children from my first marriage, and we were raising them when I got hurt by this doctor, but I didn't know for 7 years because I trusted everything that they told me. I was cut on. Very personal. I wore diapers for 7 years. And they told me I had a condition from the birth of my first child. 7 years later, I got a hold of my medical records and saw a doctor for a second opinion and found out that this doctor had severed all the muscles on the left side of my rectum at 33 years old. Left me, instead of telling me what happened, they just kept cutting. I ended up having to have most of my body parts removed, and I have a bag on my body for the rest of my life. I've had that for 26 years. A year after I found out what happened to me, and this is where the young man's comment about talking to your senators and your representatives comes into play. I was a mom of 4 little children, or 4 growing children. My husband and I had opened a daycare business because my diapers were just a bit bigger, and it helped. So I started writing to my senators and representatives. This little woman, nobody, that lived in a little town in California, La Habra, California. And I started getting these invitations to go to Washington, D.C. from Senator Kennedy for a breast cancer patient advocacy group, and I just kept throwing them away, thinking, why are they asking me? You know, who am I? I wear a diaper, or at that time I had my colostomy, and they kept. I think I got 2 or 3 of them, and finally I get a phone call, and it's this patient advocate from someplace in Virginia, and she said, "We heard your story. We want you to come to Washington and speak to senators and representatives about how you were treated, because I was not able to sue the company, the doctors that did this to me, because it was an HMO and they only allowed you to do mediation at the time." And Senator Hatch and Senator Kennedy had gotten together and made a bipartisan bill that they were trying to pass for your right to sue your HMO. And I thought, I always wanted to be on a stage singing somewhere. That was my goal in life, besides being a PA. But I thought, okay, let's do this. 2 weeks before I had to get on the plane to go to Washington, I had to have a revision of my colostomy, so I was on a plane post-surgery. Got to Washington, D.C., and I actually got to speak to then Senator Biden and another senator from Rhode Island, and different Senator Boxer from California. One person can make a change. One person. We can all make that change. That was in July. It was during, Senator Kennedy was supposed to be there to be our keynote speaker, and it was the weekend that they found JFK Jr.'s body. And the power of seeing those flags at half-staff and going and talking to these people that had so much more education and knowledge than I did, and seeing those flags at half-staff and then praying for everybody and being together, regardless of whether they were Democrat or Republican. It was so powerful. That was in July. In October of 1999, they passed the bill that I got to go and help be part of. So we all need to